billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amen. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the perfect praise belongs to God, the Lord of all systems of knowledge, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the sole judge on the day of judgment. We worship you only and we turn to you begging assistance. Guide us on the straight way, the way of those whom you restored your blessings, not those who incur your wrath, nor those who go astray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Imam Omar, for opening us up. It's always a pleasure. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to Study Al-Islam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we are so happy to be together once again on a Sunday for Study Al-Islam and taking the time and an opportunity to get to educate each other on things that are pertinent to us as a community and making sure that we stay informed. Today's topic is centered around our senior community, and actually we'll be focusing all of the month of September centered around this topic. Today, we're going to focus on keeping in touch with our senior community. And as all of us know, it is so important that we do things and are mindful of all segments of our community. And so we're going to talk today and have presenters give us some information about just how important it is to keep in touch with the senior community and what we can do in our locales to facilitate that. Today's presenters are Sister Saisa Neal and Sister Rafika Abdul Rashid. We'll start with Sister Saisa Neal, who is a retired nurse, and she was also the chair of the health committee in Washington, D.C. So she has some ties to the nation's mosque. And with that said, I'm going to bring on Sister Saisa. Welcome to Study Al-Islam, Sister Saisa.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Marsha and Sister Fitrah, and all the other brothers and sisters with us today. I pray Allah is blessing everyone. This verse, chapter Surah 17, verse 23, was the direction that I found that I needed to be able to see what I could do to help with bringing our seniors together at Masjid Muhammad in Washington, D.C. It requires of us to be mindful of our parents and treating both of them as they attain old age, treating them with kindness, lower to them the wing of humility, and say, my Lord, bestow on them thy mercy, even if they cherish me in childhood. So it's kind of a calling card for me to treat all of my senior brothers and sisters, whether they're my biological parents or not, to think of them in terms of being able to give back to them for all the wonderful blessings that they have given to me as I've grown. So that's kind of the charge call that we did when I asked Imam Talib Sharif, who came to our community, I believe, as an imam in 2011, if I could start a health team. I looked at the members that we had, tried to see if there were some things that we could do to generate what I didn't see happening in terms of how we were doing. This is just a little bit of a using the word Muslim as a way.
Sister Saisa, should we be seeing your screen right now? Because we don't.
You don't see my screen.
Okay. So if you can go ahead and click the share button at the bottom. Are you on the Zoom screen? Because I need you to be there for 1 second, and then you can get back to the other screen. So
for a second, let me see if I can get to it.
Yes.
I don't see it at all, Marsha. I
Okay,
see.
so same thing as what we did earlier. So if you go back, you're gonna have to find your Zoom screen and then
Oh, okay.
I'll have you share the presentation because we don't see what you see.
Dang it. Hmm. Okay. This is where my non-use of computers is really showing up here for me. I'm not exactly sure because I'm already in my presentation. So that means that
Can you lower your presentation on your screen? Maybe the Zoom screen is behind that. You don't have to close it, but if you can just click there should be a dash at the top of your top right. You'll see an X, a box, and a straight line. You should be able to click that to minimize. Do you see Zoom?
mm, mm. No, I'm afraid I don't. Oh, wait a
Okay.
minute. Okay. Let's see. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. If you all can just bear with us so we can see what she wants us to see so we can follow along.
Here. Okay. Play from start? No. You want me
Well,
to
you need to be on the Zoom screen so that we can get you to share the presentation similar to what we did earlier this morning. So you got to get to where you can see me speaking to you.
Mm.
Or you see yourself. You can either or, as long as it's the Zoom screen. And maybe you need to close the PowerPoint just so you can see what's there, because I want you to get back to however you got to Zoom.
Okay. Now I can see you.
Okay. Click share. And in that box, and now your presentation is closed, but when we walked through this morning, you clicked something, and it may have been the Zoom screen, but share whatever's in the box. Is there anything open in the box? Okay. Now close that because that's your email, or go to your PowerPoint. Go to PowerPoint at the bottom. There we go. Now open up your presentation. There we go. Slideshow. In the orange area in the middle. There, to the left. There you go. And then at the bar underneath, you're gonna click slideshow again. You're gonna go all the way to the left where it says play from start. Now we see your screen. You can proceed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As you can see, this technology is not easy. Anyway, as I was saying, verse 17, chapter Surah 17, verse 23 was a guiding light for myself when I got started with trying to put together health team. Some of the suggestions that I gave to some members that were willing to join in to help me with this and see the necessity of us having to deliver to our seniors, which were many of us are seniors ourselves, with some of these things, just using the word Muslim and coming up with an acronym for some of the things that we could do. And we did do some of these things, especially sending out the Muslim Journal, and really trying to stay in contact. The big deal was staying in contact, as Sister Fitrah and Sister Marcia have said. And it generated for us the contact that we made were the words that I just came up with the word legacy, because it presents to us a long-term relationship with many of our seniors. We have, at least in Masjid Muhammad, at least 3 sisters that have been there for a long time. So I learned a lot from them, and they helped me a lot in organizing and finding out. Once we have acquired a relationship with 2 or 3 of our older members, and they've been in communication with each other. They tell others about what you're doing, and it moves a lot smoother for you as members communicate with each other. We also did in Masjid Muhammad have a certain number that members were able to call for Jumu'ah services or for community meetings, and having that number be consistent helped with the seniors being able to remember where to go and who to call in terms of community meetings. We had so this is just a short rundown of when we got started in late 2011, and we've gone on from them. I'm no longer the leader, but the leaders that are currently with us, I think one of them, at least Sister Sharon, I heard is on the line, and she can remember some of the things that we did. We started out trying to get an AED that explained to the community what that was. One of our brothers was able to see it actually be used on his wife. They're here in the middle here, Brother Yahya and Sister Irma. Allah has taken Sister Irma recently, but Brother Yahya, in seeing how the AED was promoted when his wife had cardiac arrest on a trip, was able to then help us to raise funds to get the AED in our community. We had I had to look at the resources in the community at the time. We had Brother Omar, who was a physician's assistant, and we had other members interested. Brother Umar, who was a longtime member, interested in being in helping to form. So you try to identify who your movers and shakers are in the community, and they will help you together. Sister Sharon is currently one of the leaders. She teaches, she's a retired respiratory therapist, teaches CPR as an extra job for herself now. Sister Mariam Salim, who's the wife of Imam Yusuf Salim, my classmate from Howard. She does Kibar. Brother Moomin, these pictures of just people. But the sister that helped me a lot was Sister Basima Beya. She was head of what was then called the Sikh Committee back in the day. And she really helped to teach me a lot of the things that they did, the Sikh Committee, in terms of being in contact with our pioneers. Sister Basima is sitting here with all of us, visiting her when she was near the end of her life before Allah took her. Visiting the sick and staying in close contact with our elders when they are sick is very important, and helping them to feel like they're missed and that they're wanted and their ideas are good ideas. This picture right here, you see our lovely Sister Fitrah Muhammad here attending with 2 other longtime members a street health fair. We made partnership with one of the churches in our neighborhood, Seventh-day Adventist church on the corner, and then a Baptist church around the corner. Sister Labiba Salam here was another one of those angels that came out to help us. Our biggest contribution in 2017 was our Pioneer Luncheon, in which we pulled a lot of people together, people that act. Our youth were invited. The whole community was around, and we were able to do this luncheon. So sometimes we have to be in a mindset of giving back to the pioneers for all of the sacrifices they've made for us, and that give them a chance to enjoy each other's company. And that helps to keep the community spirit going too. So that was very successful for us. These are just some other pictures of some of our seniors and that are still living. My husband's right there. He's a real advocate for Muslim Journal, and gives me a lot of inspiration with that. Down here, we have Sister Hilu to the left, who's still with us. And in the middle, we have a sister from you may have heard of the Army wax, who actually carried mail to the soldiers in World War II. So the sister in the middle here, Allah has taken her, but she was one of those famous people that belonged to that group of seniors. Sister Widad here makes a lot of our baked goods when we have Eid and other things, and she's renowned as a baker in our community. Other people that have led their information and led their hearts to us to help us out. I just wanted to honor them with giving pictures of them. This couple right here, Brother John and Sister Ruth Bilal, they're wearing the T-shirts that we designed for our 85th anniversary, which we celebrated back in 2022. So all of these people and all of these souls have been dear to us and have done a great deal in keeping us together. I think this kind of information, this kind of togetherness, and this kind of phone calling, which is what we did a lot with phone calls. Seniors may not know how to do computers. I'm a senior myself now. I don't. Obviously, Sister Marcia knows. But having the same kind of numbers to call to get into Juma services and to community meetings, um, having each other signing different our health team members to call a certain amount of seniors and then giving reports back to each other about what we did, what they found was needed in terms of where that senior lived. Those kinds of things helped us a lot. Mailing the information once a month to them, the Muslim Journal with games, Sudoku, and other kinds of games for the seniors to keep their minds engaged. Those were things that seemed to be, and then asking them from time to time, what would you like us to do? Getting replies from them about things that they would like to see us do. So I've been very blessed to be in a community of people that are still alive and still working really hard to keep Masjid Muhammad senior friendly. I think those are some of the things, and I know I don't want to take up a lot of time. I've already taken time trying to find my PowerPoint. So I welcome your questions and I'll try to answer the best I can. Thank you so much, Sister Fitrah, for allowing me this time.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Sister Saisa. And so what we're going to do is, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat. We're going to have our second presentation from Sister Rafika, and then we'll go into the question and answer segment. So we'll any questions you have, you may want to put them in the chat now so we don't lose track of them, and then we'll bring Sister Saisa back on so that we can pose any questions to her, as well as questions to Sister Rafika. And so with that said, we're going to move to our second presentation, and our presenter for that is Sister Rafika Abdul Rashid. She is the president of the Jews of Philadelphia, and so we're going to hear from her what the Jews are and what they do in specific to help to keep in touch with our senior community. Sister Rafika, welcome to Study Al-Islam, and we look forward to your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. It is my pleasure to be with everyone here today. I am Hajja Rafika Abdul Rashid, director and co-founder of the Jewels of Islam. I made Hajj in 1985, and when I got to Mount Arafat, one of the things I asked Allah for was to start an older adult program for Muslim women. After completing my graduate studies in gerontology in 1989, the idea to plan for the program took place in my home when I met with our founding sisters. They were seniors that were well known and knew the older Muslim women in the community for many years. Many of them had come from the Nation of Islam, and at that time were then under Imam Wardi Muhammad leadership. They were Hajj Fatima M. Ali and Hajj Shahida Ali Muhammad. May Allah forgive her sins and grant her Jannatul Firdaus. They helped to plan the first meeting and got the word out to invite older sisters to come. Our first meeting was held in the Winfield Cultural Center in Philadelphia, and that was in June 1989. After that first meeting, we started to search for a permanent location to have our meetings. Hajj Fatima M. Ali spoke with Imam Abdul Alim, who was then the resident imam at that time of Masjid Allah in Philadelphia. He was the first to respond and said we could have the program there, which became known as the Jewels of Islam, named by one of our original members that no longer is with us. May Allah forgive her sins and grant her Jannatul Firdaus. She saw us as precious, highly valued, and each jewel different, but all beautiful. The Jewels of Islam is a unique supportive network and program for women 50 years and older. It is the only program like it in the country, in that we have so many activities for our seniors. Some members are in their 50s and most in their 70s, 80s, and several in their 90s. The program has been in existence for 35 years. We have topics in Islam, nutrition, education, social and recreational activities, yoga, yes, yoga, Tai Chi, dance therapy, and speakers in the field of aging, and other pertinent topics for older adults. And there is a supportive network segment of the program where we share challenges and situations going on in our lives that are discussed that stay within the group. A meal is served after the program. Since 2016, our program took a new phase. The program is now open to women of all faiths. We have several members that are Christians that enjoy being around us and like the peace and welcome they receive every time they attend the meetings. We meet on Zoom the second Sunday of the month from late fall to winter, and break for Ramadan and come back for in-person meetings at Masjid Allah in Philadelphia. The second Sunday of the month from late spring to early fall. We have approximately 169 members, and the numbers keep going up. We have jewels all over the country: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Arizona, Georgia, and California, like our dear sister Saisa Neal. Many of our jewels have made the pilgrimage to Mecca, alhamdulillah. We do not have to advertise because people hear about the program through their friends. Sisters are also welcome as volunteers that are younger than 50. They may serve doing fundraising, providing a mutual support system to check on our members, visiting the homebound or sick, or on the telephone network. It takes a lot, as you can imagine, to run our program, since we do this on an all-volunteer basis, fi-sabilillah, and we are blessed to still have Hajj Fatima M. Ali, our co-founder. She has now stepped down from her role as co-chairperson and trained our current chairperson, and now she is our advisor. Currently, Hajj Fatima is 94 years old and is known in masjids throughout Philadelphia as well as outside the city, and is still very active, still drives her car, and on occasions picks up members and brings them to our program. And she loves to visit the sick regularly and is out just about every day doing this. She rarely misses a meeting. We have a great team working with me. Our co-chairperson, who wears many hats, doing some of my duties when needed. Our email coordinator adds on new members to our Jewels network so that they can get information about our program and other events at Masjid Allah. And when members request duas to be put on the email, she and I put them out together. She is also our Zoom manager and taught many of our sisters how to access Zoom when we first went on Zoom during the COVID pandemic. She is also the editor of our Jewels Directory, which is our resource tool for our members. And our Islamic education instructor teaches us short surahs. Our yoga and Tai Chi instructors also are an integral part of the program, showing us the importance of these modes of exercise. And one of our volunteers is younger than 50, is our budget manager. These sisters work like it is a job. They don't get paid. They are dedicated and give 100% plus to make it a quality program. We also have a greeting card designer that does Islamic inserts in the cards, and our co-chairperson also sends out these beautiful cards to members that are sick or hospitalized. We have a couple of jewels that do presentations like news to you and healthcare topics. We also have a liaison that communicates with other groups in our masjid and with other masjids when we have events. Members support the program and enjoy the activities. The beautiful thing to see, even when sisters are going through challenges, is that they still come to the program and feel the love and support of the sisters. Some of our major accomplishments have been the Jewels participated in the Philadelphia Interfaith Walk of Peace and Reconciliation for many years, and two of our Jewels were honored for their work with the Peace Walk in 2023. Our member that first started planning the Peace Walk is Christian, and she has been involved in that and dedicated with that Peace Walk from the beginning stages. Haja Fatima M. Ali, Haja Safi Myra Kareem, and one of the founders of Masjid Allah, and she is also an original member of the Jewels, and me were interviewed for the book At Their Feet, 50 Black Muslim Elders Sharing Stories of Faith, Community Life by Zarina El Amin. That was done in 2022. Jules also participated in the Path of El Islam exhibit, along with other indigenous Muslims of Philadelphia, held at the Free Library of Philadelphia main branch in the Parkway. And we did oral histories and presentations, which were open to the public at the library and were on exhibit for 3 months and put on YouTube in 2022. Muslim Journal president and editor gave a certificate of appreciation to the Jewels for perseverance and dedication. The Jewels are viewed as a recognized and respected program by the premier agency on aging called the Philadelphia Corporation for Aging, PCA. I frequently attend PCA's Clergy Interfaith Coalition meetings and have done presentations on the Jewels for them in the past. The Jewels work closely with many aging organizations throughout the region. I thank Allah for the opportunity to have this beautiful sisterhood with the Jewels and for us to still have a program at Masjid Allah in the community room. And the maintenance and housekeeping staff do a great job making the room look so beautiful for the program. It has such a wonderful ambiance. When people come through the door, they see a welcome sign that says welcome to everyone. And it is just really very, very beautiful to us. I would like to close with this hadith, al-Tirmidhi, narrated hadith 2329, that a Bedouin said, "O Messenger of Allah, who is the best of people?" He said, "The one who lives a long life and does good deeds." This hadith is classified as a Hasan hadith, Volume 4, Jamiat Tirmidhi, page 362. Shukran.
F1. Thank you so much, Sister Rafika, for that presentation. And I'm actually going to bring Sister Saisa back on with us as well, so that we can open up our question and answer segment. And so I'm going to start off with the first question as we wait for others to put theirs in the chat. And remember, if you want to raise your hand and just ask the question audibly, that's fine as well. And so learning about the work that both you all do, I'm curious to know, how do you recruit for your programs? Is there a registration process? How are we connecting with the seniors to get them connected to the work or to utilize the resources that are provided by the work that both of you do? And either of you can start.
Okay, well, what we do, like I said in the presentation, is a lot of the people hear about us through just word from a friend or from an organization. And then we do have a registration process, which is quite simple. It's only a page where they fill out certain information about themselves so we can put them in our Jewels of Islam directory. And then when they come in, there is dues, $40 per year. And that pays for a lot of our costs for our program. And we also have, of course, supporters that help us in that regard.
With the seniors, can you hear me? Oops.
Yes, we can hear you.
For the seniors at Masjid Muhammad, we were actually forming, our goal was to form a health committee. So it was taken into account, not just our pioneers, but also the whole membership. As I said earlier, Brother Yahya Talabdeen was very instrumental in helping us to raise funds to get the AED for the masjid after he saw how it helped to bring his wife literally back to life. But beyond that, and so from word of mouth, we had a lot of seniors that were did a lot of different projects at Masjid Muhammad Abu Bakr. Many of the brothers and sisters were very popular. And Sister Basima was said that they would call Sister Basima the seniors before they even called 911. She was so popular in terms of her response as head of the Sikh committee. We had Brother Robert El Amin, who used to drive the bus for the seniors. They had their own van. So I kind of came on the backs of seniors that had already been doing a lot of things for themselves. And I was able to then, by being taught from them, able to figure out ways to try to keep that connection going. But we have seminars, we have, as they currently do now. COVID kind of stopped a lot of things in 2021, 2022, or 2020, I guess, in 2021. But I think the masjid is being renovated now. So I'm out here in a different state, so I don't really know, except they're having, services elsewhere physically. But I think in terms of trying to get I guess you have to look at all of your resources. So there were Boy Scout leaders, there were other groups and other committees in the masjid. And if they knew of the seniors, I just generally went by somebody's knowledge of one person telling another person, and trying to stay. I think the inclusion of having a specific phone number was very helpful for our senior population. They have a specific number for Jumu'ah services, a specific number for community meetings. It helps people to really be able to attend, even if they can't, or physically be present to hear what's going on, even if they can't physically attend. But it helps to keep them. I tried hard to really match people with personalities. People that had certain gifts would match with those other seniors that had those similar gifts, so that there would be some commonality between them. And that would help them. And then they would fill me back in. I also tried hard to get a relative of a senior. When I would meet the senior and get to know the pioneer or the senior a little bit, I would try hard to find out who their children were, grandchildren, other younger members of their family. And I would communicate with them a lot to get feedback from them as to how their seniors would seniors were doing. So a lot of communication and a lot of being able to be there to answer questions and to do the best I can to recognize any particular senior's specific need and how to resolve it.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate you sharing that piece about connecting with the family, right? Because our conversation is about, keeping in touch with the senior community. And so we know that some people are really good at like connecting to the activities and the resources that are available to them, and others not so much, either just a personality thing, but also sometimes, just because of the state that they may be in. So you mentioning keeping in touch with the family, I feel like that's really important for us to keep in mind as we're trying to come up with ways in our locales to make sure that we're tied into our senior population, is that we also need to be building those relationships with the families so that we can stay connected. I do have a question in the chat, and this one is related to the Jewels of Islam. Are there chapters of Jewels throughout the country? If so, how does a chapter get started? Because you mentioned activities, or you mentioned membership around the country, so that someone wants to know.
No, we don't have chapters, but we have Zoom. And we have people that are in other states, like Sister Saisa. They can come on Zoom and, and listen to the program. They can get their Jules directory. So that's basically how we contact all of our members. And like I said, we have members in Georgia, New Jersey, California, Sister Saisa. So, it's a lot, and they are welcome to enjoy it. So it's like a microcosm of our in-person program, because we even bring our yoga instructor on Zoom as well.
Nice. And so how do we connect to that Zoom, or and you mentioned a directory? How would those who are interested get in contact with the Jewels to be able to connect to the Zoom and the directory?
They can contact me if they're interested in being a member by my email network, which is Rafika, RAFIQA 5210 at yahoo.com.
And I'm throwing that in the chat as we speak, so that the members have it. And that's Rafika 5210 at yahoo.com, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I'll be glad to talk to them at that point and, get their information, and they can be a member of the Jewels, and they'll get a membership application. And then after that, once they pay their dues, they get a directory with their name, date of birth, if they want it in there. It also has their interests and skills, which is really important. It's a wonderful directory, because it's like you can see all of the talents of the sisters, and there are so many talents of the Jewels that we laugh and say we could build a nation just upon those talents that are listed. And so, for example, if a person needs someone that may be a doctor, or somebody that may be a nurse, or someone that may be a seamstress, they can look in the book and contact that sister. Or they may be, some interest that someone has shared that they're interested in too. So it makes it really a great resource directory.
Wonderful. And so it sounds like from the work that both of you all are connected to, that the way that we're keeping in touch with our seniors, right? For those of us who want to be able to bring this type of activity to our local communities is, I heard earlier you mentioned, Sister Rafika, greeting cards that we're sending to our seniors, right? We're connecting them to services that are pertinent to where they are in life. And we're keeping in touch with their family members to make sure that there is a tie back to our community. And so, and if there's other services that maybe I missed, feel free to
Right,
add those. But though, even on those three, you know, those are some things that we could start with, right? Keep making
right.
sure that we're staying in touch with the family, sending greeting cards when you know, just thinking of you, or if something happens, sending those cards out to make sure that they know that they are still a part of the community and that there is a place for them here, and that, you know, they're not left alone. And then making sure that if they're not connected to services, we have those tools in place to connect them to services. And then Sister Rafika, you just mentioned the directory, which I think is awesome, of knowing other seniors and the skill sets that they have, right? So those are some things that we can implement in our local communities to help to bring this to everyone.
And
I
we
do.
also have a telephone network. So if people are homebound, we have Jules that will call them up and they can get a friendly call. And also, when we're not meeting, I always put on our flyer, call a jewel between meetings. So it's not just the people in the network that they would get a call from, but anyone can pick up a call and contact that sister. Another thing we do when it's inclement weather, we will contact that sister and see if she's okay, especially the ones that live alone, to make sure if the weather is really hot, they're drinking enough water, they have the proper, like a fan or whatever. And if they don't, we can put them in touch with agencies such as Philadelphia Corporation for Aging. So all these things are so important. And I just want to talk a little bit about what Sister Saisa was saying about the family. We also, I especially, because of my background, make sure I get to know the family members I can whenever I can. It's really important, especially when that sister goes in the hospital. You want to make sure you're keeping in touch with the person and contacting the family to see what's going on. Sometimes when you can't reach the person during that time, they're hospitalized, and find out what's going on with them. And also to be an advocate for that sister when they're in the hospital, because many of us know when you're in the hospital, even the family, and I always tell the family, make sure they talk to that social worker in the hospital before the person is discharged. A lot of times people get discharged and they have no one to take care of them when they get out. So it's very important that the social worker knows that, so that they don't just discharge them without anything in place. They need to have some service in place before they're discharged. So that's another thing that we do, that I do.
Mhm. I would say,
Wonderful. Go ahead, Sister Saisa. I was just gonna mention that you also talked about having a sort of a hotline of sorts, right? A phone number. So I just wanted to mention that because it's another thing that our other communities could do, is to establish a line
yeah,
for the seniors. But go ahead, share what you were gonna share.
very blessed to have Sister Coffee on our staff here, along with Sister Fitrah and the others that make up our community board with Imam Talib Sharif's leadership. And we really were very fortunate to have them be able to come up with like this one number concept so that seniors could reach the different events, you know, community meetings and other things. Also, I want to give a lot of credit for Sister Miriam Salim, Imam Youssef's wife, running the Kibar. And there have been others before her that ran it, but at the same time, having the Kibar, having our seniors have a place to meet, that functioned a lot and coexisted with what we were doing in the health committee, because the seniors were actually physically coming to the masjid when it was open, to get at least a luncheon meal. I believe kibar is Arabic for senior, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm not an Arabic scholar at all. But the kibar movement also welcomed other seniors from other places in our community, not necessarily members of our masjid. So not only gave our seniors a chance to be together for themselves, but they got to meet other movers and shakers in the Ward 5 community that Masjid Muhammad is located in. And it gave, as Sister Rafika spoke, people that had not been Muslims before a window of opportunity to see what Muslims were doing, what Islam was about. And some people actually took their shahadas as a result of perhaps coming to. So Kibar, and see, Sister Miriam could call me and tell me if she noticed somebody in Kibar that may be having some difficulties, or I could talk to her about somebody. So those kind of communications, all of the different levels at the masjid, different communities and different committees can talk to each other about what they're seeing and can try to act as support services for the seniors. If they notice something, if they see something, if they want to be able to help them. But family support is just unmistakable. If I don't hear from you, I don't see you, I'm not hearing from the sister, or I can't get the sister calling and leaving messages, sister or brother, then I'm definitely trying to get a member of the family to find out what is going on, what's happening, and try to keep that rapport going so I hear back at least from the family member as to how the loved one is doing. And what I found is that a lot of our members, their children were not practicing. You know, the members were parts of our communities. The fathers and mothers were, the grandparents might have been, but the children going down the line had left out our temples and our masjids. And so for some of them, you know, one brother told me, just having the connection here opened up my heart to come back again, to see what my mother and father were trying to teach me. You know, so you never know who you're opening up to try to come back and to understand what Islam was about, just from the connection that you made, that somebody has taken time to talk to you about your mom or your dad.
Wonderful. And so I do have some hands raised. I'm going to take Sister Fitrah off of mute. She's traveling, but she is here with us. So Sister Fitrah, you should be able to come off of mute.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. I see that there's a question about Kibar. Kibar is
Sister Fitrah, we lost your sound. So we don't hear you. And like I said, she's traveling, so we may have to come back around to her. Okay, we'll have to come back around to her because I can't hear her. So I do have a question from Sister Mahasan. Sister Mahasan, if you please ask your question, and you should be able to take yourself off of mute.
All right. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Assalamu alaikum to everyone on the line. Greetings to you, Sister Marcia. I have two questions, or a question for both of our presenters. I was invited in 2017 to become a member of the Jewels by Sister Sultana Ali out of New Jersey, and also Sister Rahima Abdullah out of Philadelphia.
Wonderful. I think she just was letting us know she was invited. I'm not sure if you had a question, Sister Mahasan, but if so, you'll have to raise your hand again because your volume went out. Sister Aziza, go ahead and ask your question. Sister Aziza, you should be able to take yourself off of mute.
Marcia, can you hear me?
I can, Sister
I
Fitrah.
just did unmute.
We can hear you, Sister Aziza.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I really don't know how to put this right, but I don't know. I was just thinking, the program is beautiful. Number one, the dual program is beautiful. I really like it, but I don't know. Something touched me. I'm saying, what about the brothers? They elderly too. I know a lot. I think the sisters have a lot of support. I know brothers when they get elderly, like they stay to themselves. The sisters have the sisters have the support that the children come by. The brothers, they have tend to withdraw and stay by themselves. And I was just wondering, like, not married or nothing, just the brothers. When you say elderly, I was saying, what can we do conglomerate together for the seniors in the whole
Sister Aziza, can you hear
Yes,
me, Marsha?
yes.
Marsha,
We can hear you, Sister Fitrah.
yeah, Sister Aziza, that's a very good question, and I'm going to answer that because there is a program in Philadelphia called the Vanguard, and that is the brothers program that they do respond to the brothers. Now, Sister Rafika can speak for the jewels, but it is not an exclusive service in Washington, D.C. Sister Saisa in the health committee, and it did include the brothers. And I don't know if anyone answered the question about Kibar. Kibar is our lunch program that is extended to both male and female brothers and sisters. And so, yes, we keep in touch with both of our aging community. And so, yes, Philadelphia does have a program that is under the Vanguard. So yes, be assured that both the brothers are included as well. So, Sister Rafika, I don't know if you need to add to that, but
Yes,
I did
they,
invite them. And inshallah, they will come on at another time.
yes, Sister Fitra, thank you. They do meet on a regular basis. It's not a program like the Jewels. They get together and they do things for the masjid and, just the friendship that they have among themselves. So they do meet.
Yeah, and and as you said, Sister Aziza, women have a tendency to plan more motherly services, whereas the brothers do meet more casual. But let me reassure you that there is a program that does include the brothers, and certainly the program in Washington, D.C. At Masjid Muhammad includes both the brothers and sisters. Marsha, we can go on to the next.
Okay. So, Sister Mahasin, I see your hand is raised again. I know you maybe if you have a question, we would love to answer that. So go ahead and try to take yourself off of mute.
Thank you, Sister Marcia. As I said before, I do have a question for both of our presenters, and it has to do with their mentioning the concept of health proxy. And they were talking about it, especially Sister Saisa, in terms of the networking that they do in the care. So do they offer, I found out recently our community is not quite familiar with that skill of interaction with the patient or the client, as well as the healthcare team in the hospitals. How do they address this in terms of training and familiarization in the organizations that they represent? Health proxy. And could they share what that is?
So the question is, and I'm sorry, I put you back on mute, but the question she's asking is, how do you assist or do you provide any education around having a health proxy for those who are going into medical facilities. Is there something that both of the services that you all work with help families to navigate in reference to health proxy?
Yes, we have people that are speakers, and they come out and do different programs on topics such as that. So that's how we pretty much handle that. And at that time, the Jules can ask them the questions that they want to ask.
Sister Saisa, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I basically have just informed family members that there's going to be social workers and other people assigned at the hospital to help the family. And what would help them, those people that are assigned, is to have a particular family member, the family decide who is going to be the main one that's going to be in connection, communication wise. Hospitals and people that work in hospitals, nurses, doctors, other people, don't have a lot of time for lots of different people from the family coming to ask them questions. They would prefer the family to choose the one or two people that they want to represent that patient's needs, so that the family. So I have said to them, before you go, make sure you have someone delegated in your family to be responsible, to be the communicator. You get a lot more bang for the buck if you do that. I'm not sure who that is. So I've just sort of, warned them to be to think of it that way, and to go in with your questions from members of the family and one or two people representing that particular family, not everybody trying to, because that takes up a lot of time of the healthcare worker, and they kind of feel, especially with so much going on with COVID and everything, overwhelmed when families are presenting. They want the families to decide how they want to deal with the particular patient's needs. And then they want just one representative from that family to talk directly to the healthcare personnel.
Wonderful. And so,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Sister Fitrah. Go ahead.
Well, we only have 2 minutes left, so I'd want to bring this to a close. Do we have any other questions? If we have a question, I'm going to ask the speakers to keep the answers very short. If not, as you can see from what Sister Rafika and Sister Saisa has shared with us today, that it is extremely important. Now, we're going to be addressing this issue the entire month on our aging parents, but it is extremely important that we keep in touch with our aging community, because our community does have a large aging population. And so, I hope that, that other messages or other communities or other organizations will reach out to Sister Saisa and reach out to the Jules and connect with them on ways to set up something in their community, which is the purpose of Study Al-Islam, is so that we can help each other to do a better job. So with that,
no other questions are in the chat.
Okay, then. So with that said, Sister Rafika and Sister Saisa, I want to thank you for your service to the community, your years of service. And I don't know how active the other Jules in the community are. I know in Oakland, California, they're very active. But I hope that we can, please put a telephone number in, Sister Rafika, where people can, where the community can contact you. Sister Saisa is in retirement. I don't want to overburden her, but the health committee in Washington, D.C. is still fully functional.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, Marsha, we can go ahead and bring on, but before we do, Saisa and Rafika, if there's a final word that you'd like to share, a final thought, please do that before we bring on our last speaker.
Yes, I would just like to say this, that one of the things that is also important about the program is the age. I mentioned that the age starts at 50, and we do that because a lot of people in the society do not have that transition from being, middle aged to older. And the Jewels really appreciate coming in at 50 and learning so much from the sisters that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and some of them in their 90s. So it's really good. It's that preparation that they have in terms of the aging process and what goes on, something that we really don't talk much in this society. So that is something that Margaret Mead used to talk about, the anthropologists, how important these demarcations in society are, but somehow they seem to leave out older people. So this is something that we as Jules really appreciate. And I know when I started the program, I was 40 years old, so I'd learned so much from being around all these beautiful, wise sisters. So I just wanted to share that too before we close.
Thank you, Sister Rafika. Sister Saisa, do you have a last statement or comment you'd like to make? And then we need to close.
Thank all of the members of the health team, Sister Sharon, Brother Kadir Nara leading it, and all the other members that have been with them and carrying on the work that we started. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you both. Marsha, we can close. Why don't we call Imam Mikkel on, and then we can close out.
No problem. So I'm going to bring on Imam Mikkel Hameen, who is, let me find him. Here we go. Imam Mikkel is our representative for A Time to Be Grateful, being hosted in Miami at Masjid Al Ansar. And so I'm going to let him present to you about A Time to Be Grateful. Imam Mikkel, you should be able to unmute.
Thank you. Thank you, Fitrah. Thank you, Marsha. Thank everyone that's listening. The Time to Be Grateful, one of our premier programs that is put on throughout the year, every year. Miami this year is the host of A Time to Be Grateful. It's the 20th year of Time to Be Grateful. Our host city and our state Masajids, FCMA, and our resident imam, Dr. Nasser Ahmed, welcomes everyone to Miami. We're inviting those of you online to join us here in Miami on December 19th through the 22nd of December. That's a Thursday through Saturday. The hotel is the Hilton Hotel, downtown Miami. This year's theme is the power of the pen, fostering understanding, truth, and unity. Right there, we're inviting all of our book writers and promoters of books to come and get a vendor space and show and showcase your books and the power of the pen. The link for the information regarding registration for Eventbrite could be found at Masjid, this is one word, masjidansar.org. The host committee thank everybody for going to our link. And this year we have a feature on our link to help you with the traveling navigation. You'll find a link that will help you to book travel if that's something you need to do. One of the great features of coming to Miami, our rail system travels from the airport to downtown Miami. Then there's another little train that will take you directly to the hotel for less than $5 with a round trip of $10. The public forum is going to be one of our features dealing with our issue of this issue of 2025. If those of you who are not familiar with that, I'm hoping most of you are. We will have a public forum dealing with that. And this is a fundraiser for the Muslim Journal. You can access all of the packages, the general packages, access one that deals with workshops, banquet, the Caribbean fashion show, the cultural night, the access 2 package, that package access 1 is $300. The access 2 workshops and award banquet is $140. The access 3 is getting a table of 10 people for $13.50, and access 4 is workshops, Caribbean fashion, cultural night, and the business breakfast. The vendor table is $250. The banquet, if individuals, that's $145. The workshops, $25. Business breakfast is $65. The Caribbean fashion show is $65, and the culture night is $65. The tour and youth committee, youth events, and young adults, those prices are to be announced. Any questions anyone might have?
So, any questions? We'll be having someone come on every first Sunday to talk to us about a time to be grateful. So for today, we're gonna go ahead and close the program, but if you all have questions, know that in the coming weeks, you'll have an opportunity to ask those. Thank you so much, Imam Hameen, for coming on and talking to us about a time to be grateful, and we're hoping to see everyone in December. With that said, we're going to ask Imam Omar if he can close us out and dua.
ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Oh Lord, let not our hearts deviate now that you have guided us, but grant us mercy from you, for you are the granters of bounties without measure. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Imam. Before you all have a good, oh, Sister Fitrah, did you want to add something?
No, I just want you to repeat where they can get information for a time to be grateful, and then we can
Sure.
close.
So, and I put it in the chat. So
Okay.
for more information about a time to be grateful, please visit www.masjidalansar.org. There you will find links to all of the activities for a time to be grateful that will be happening December 19th through the 22nd. And with
Thank you.
that said, if you we hope that you all have a great week, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Wa
salam.
alaikum salam.